We're one of the best teams in the league, if not the best, and tonight we was playing the way that we envisioned the Lakers to play.
Oh, spin move, D'Angelo Russell, unstoppable here. What a start. Anthony Davis has been an absolute monster here in Game 3. He has responded.
This game is over with. We played well, okay, cool, but we got another one on Monday. It's literally that simple.
After an underwhelming performance in Game 2, Anthony Davis a major catalyst for the Lakers in Game 3. On the offensive end, he was 5 of 7 uncontested shots, went 4 for 4 with Draymond Green as the primary defender. On the defensive side, the Warriors 0 for 8 with AD as the primary defender. Here's Dave McMenamin with more from LA.
The Lakers' sometimes sublime, sometimes lackluster postseason run has been linked to Anthony Davis. Seemingly half the time he's been great, and half the time he's been relatively quiet. It continued in Saturday's Game 3 blowout win, with AD putting up 25 points and 13 boards after only 11 and 7 in their Game 2 loss. But Davis and the Lakers claim they're staying even-keeled throughout.
I'm not on social media, so my teammates not talking about it. My circle, inner circle wasn't talking about it, so I have not. The same shots I had Game 1, I had Game 2. I made Game 1, I missed Game 2. Same shots I had Game 2, I had Game 3. And I missed Game 2 and made Game 3.
You win a game, everybody's the greatest player in the world. You lose a game, they throwing dirt on you. It's literally that simple. You know, it's all about, training your mind for, the next challenge. What's the next challenge? This game is over with. We played well. Okay, cool, but we got another one on Monday.
James and Davis are trying to prep their younger teammates for the challenges ahead by removing the emotional ebbs and flows as much as possible. LeBron told me, quote, "Every day is a learning experience for our ball club, and learning how to move on from a win is just as important as moving forward after a loss." In Los Angeles, I'm Dave McMenamin, ESPN.
Hi, Dave. Thank you. NBA playoffs continue.
3 between the Warriors and the Lakers series, all tied up at 1 apiece as we shift to Los Angeles. The winner of Game 3 goes on to win the series 73% of the time, so they're probably going to want this. And there is the Splash Bro. What you got to say, Arda?
The trio of Curry, Clay, and Draymond have 97 playoff wins, third most all time.
Oh, okay.
23 playoff series wins. I hear that's pretty good.
Just very
Not
casual.
bad.
Yeah,
Casual.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right.
We're going to do something that is called your daily dose of basketball zen. Just a couple of sights and sounds from around the league to bring a little peace and calm to your Saturday eve. Guys, I know when you think about peace and calm, I know you think about one guy in particular.
Who?
Patrick Beverley.
Of course.
Because he's the chillest. So he said this on one of his podcasts recently. Russ goes, "Hey, Pat, if the Lakers win, I want my ring." I ain't going to lie, Russ. We're going to be suited and booted, and I'll be right there waiting for my ring. Now, here's the thing. Technically, I guess he probably could get a ring. But, Arda, what do you think? Should Pat Bev and Westbrook get a ring if the Lakers win?
I think this is two separate conversations. Is he entitled to get a ring?
Okay.
And should he want a ring? If I'm not on the team anymore, the argument could be made that in those 45 games, I made a contribution. I was there, I was grinding, I was going to practice, I made friendships, whatever the case may be. I get all that. But I'm not on the team anymore. I didn't participate in the postseason. It's not due to injury. I'm on another team.
Yeah.
Same with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, as a professional, Brian, as an athlete, why in that situation would I even want a ring for a team I don't play for anymore?
You wouldn't. This is the situation I can compare this to. Anderson Varejao in 2016. He played for the Cavs that year, was traded, got cut, ended up signing with the Warriors. So he was in the finals playing for the Warriors against the Cavs. Cavs win. They say, "Andy, we'd love to have you have a ring. You played for us for a decade." He said, "Thanks, but no thanks." Because there's a huge difference between having a ring and winning a ring. Like, if they want the hardware just because it's gold and diamonds, I'm sure the Lakers would honor their request. That would be a typical thing to do. And plus, Jeannie Buss has always been known to take care of players. That's one of the trademarks of the Laker organization. It's one of the reasons why players want to go there. I think they would. But nobody would look at those two guys and say, "Yeah, you are a champion." That's the whole point of the ring. Players don't actually wear their rings, maybe more than once a year or something like that. But that doesn't mean that they're not champions. it's not an insult to Russ or Patrick. They wouldn't be champions if the Lakers won. That's just the bottom line.
We talked about this, Wendy, when we were on First Take on Thursday, and CJ McCollum was also there with us, and he made a very good point that I do think I should mention. He said that if Pat Bev and Westbrook weren't there, then the Lakers would not have gotten the pieces that they were able to acquire because of them leaving. So technically, he did say that they could technically get a ring or should technically get a ring, but like you said, that they shouldn't want to get a ring because that is a little weird, and they didn't do anything to actually have them win the championship except for leave. That helped them out if they do, in fact, win a championship. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the etiquette of gift giving. James Harden gifted Joel Embiid a Rolex, which, by the way, I mean, I don't have a Rolex, but them things are expensive. He wanted to celebrate him winning the MVP, obviously, but I want you to listen to this.
Detail. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Be careful. One more to you. Come on, I got you. Come on. Here. I got you. You will. He said you will. Left hand. Left hand out yourself. It's small, we can get some more links. Don't worry about it. We get some more links on it.
Okay, the first thing I want to say is shout out to our ESPN watch correspondent, Gary Streisky, because he's the guy that would be perfect to comment on this in this particular moment, and he's normally here on the show. He's out covering F1 this weekend. What I'm going to say about this is, if that watch, Wendy, needs alterations, in my humble opinion, it is 1,000% on the person that bought the gift, not the person that received the gift, and I would be shocked and dismayed and disappointed if that was not the case here.
Well, first off, James Harden is an all-star gift giver, because I believe I saw footage last year of him giving his friend Little Baby $100,000 in cash, just in a box. I think that's called a honey bun. I'm not sure. I think that's what it's called. So I am told by NBA players who I sat with earlier this week, who might have just been mentioned, that this is a six-figure gift. But it doesn't fit. Joel was so happy to have it, and he was showing to people, but he had to kind of hold it because he couldn't put it on his wrist. Who pays for the links? That's the question. And by the way, if the rest of the watch is 100 G's, I'm not an expert here, but Christine, I think each link might be, like 5 figures. So I don't think this is a, just, I'll leave the tip sort of cash here. But, Joel is not a luxury goods guy. He wears sweats.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't like to go to restaurants. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing if Joel shows up at one of these games with this watch to see if somebody has paid for the links.
Here's my thing. If you're going to buy somebody a $100,000 watch, shouldn't you know what size wrist you need to
Probably one of the questions, right?
get it for?
Well, then it's not a
I feel like
surprise. You can't go up with a little tape measure. How are you going to surprise him?
he could have told one of the athletic trainers, hey, start doing some stuff on Joel's wrist and act like you're doing something, and then put a string around his wrist and then measure it. Something. He could have figured something out.
I checked 30 times what my wife's ring size was before I bought her the engagement ring. There's no way that he shouldn't have checked for a wrist for that amount of money.
Also, that watch low-key looks like it could fit me, so I feel like he should have
Just give it to Christine. Just pass it on to Christine. All right?
I'll take it for sure. Okay, so one thing that we know will definitely not be a moment of zen for at least Warriors and Lakers fans, that is Game 3. Take a listen to this. Attraction as we set for Game 3 of the Warriors and Lakers, which thank goodness is at 8:30 p.m. on ABC and not 10 p.m. because those 10 p.m. games have been absolutely killing me. If you're watching on the ESPN app, you can authenticate and you can watch the game right here. Just hang out for a little bit. All right, let's start with the home team, Brian, the Lakers. What are your thoughts with the Lakers going into Game 3?
I don't think they're in bad position at all. Okay, first off, they've got the home court advantage. Yes, the Warriors ran them off the court in Game 2, but that meant that LeBron and AD didn't have to play as many minutes, because to me, This is a war of attrition. The Lakers are determined, at least they have been in games 1 and 2, to play with a lot of pace, which I understand because that's the way they've played throughout the year. Just the Warriors' pace is different. And the Lakers have basically made a decision, and I don't blame them. And that decision is that they are not going to go down with Steph Curry dropping 50 on them, is what happened at the Sacramento Kings. They have been double-teaming him. They have been denying him off the ball. And so the Warriors made an adjustment in Game 2. They put the ball in Steph's hands, and they let him be the creator. As a result, 12 assists, the most assists he's ever had in a playoff game under Steve Kerr. But he wasn't making the shots. It was Klay Thompson making the shots. It was JaMychal Green making the shots. In some cases, it was Andrew Wiggins making the shots. They shot the ball great. And in games 1 and 2, when they've been at home, where they've been great all year, they made 42 threes in those games. So now what the Lakers are basically, my guess, I don't know for sure, are wagering on is that they're not going to make the shots. I expect them to trap Steph Curry again, and I expect LeBron to have saved up a little bit of energy after not having to play as many minutes in Game 2.
Arda, any thoughts on Game 3?
The Lakers have a fantastic record in Game 3s when the series is tied at 1. They have won 9 straight games, which is the longest streak in NBA history. That's what I think.
Okay. That'll be very interesting. That's a very
So I think they're going to win, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Okay, so now it's time to see who's built for everything, brought to you by the Xfinity 10G network. And for this, we're going to talk about one Stephen Curry and the beauty of Steph Curry's Game 2. The Warriors made a strategy change by having Steph be more of a full-time ball handler. It led to 12 assists, the most he's had in a postseason under Steve Kerr, while still finishing with 20 points and the 27-point win. So, Wendy, what are you expecting from Steph tonight?
Yeah, so just think about what you just said. So last Sunday, he scored 50. He took 38 shots in 38 minutes, completely led the offense in a must-win road Game 7. Even the greatest players of all time don't have that many road Game 7 wins. Then on Thursday, 4 days later, he has 12 assists. And people who want to pigeonhole Steph as only a shooter or whatever, just think of that. 2 must-win games, because they lose either of them. One, obviously, if they lose Game 7, they're done. They lose Game 2 and go down 2-0 going on the road. They're pretty much done. 2 different situations, 2 totally different styles, 2 very effective ways, and 2 wins. That's Steph Curry. He is a brilliant player, he's a brilliant playmaker, and he's a brilliant shooter. And so I expect that to continue tonight. The Lakers are hoping that on the road, his supporting cast won't make as many shots and that their supporting cast will do better. And so that's what we're going to watch tonight for sure.
Okay, this is one of my favorite conversations, and we're going to have it again. Wendy, we had this conversation also on Thursday, and that is the fact that Stephen A. Smith said that if Steph Curry goes on to beat LeBron James in this series and then win another championship, that he would, and I want to clarify something because Stephen A. did clarify this. He didn't say he would knock LeBron out of the Mount Rushmore because he thinks LeBron is number 2, but he did say that Steph Curry should be in the top 4 in the history of the NBA. Wendy, let's get your thoughts first on this one.
Stephen A. knew exactly what he was saying. He used part of the case that Steph would have beaten LeBron in the playoffs 4 different times. That's essentially one of the big parts of his case. And I think you can say Steph is one of the all-time greats without making it a head-to-head with LeBron. And when you look at LeBron's body of work, and including when he's gone up against teams that frankly have had more talent than him, which has almost always, it's always been the Warriors. I mean, in this series, it's much narrower than it was when Cleveland played Golden State, but the Warriors still have more talent and more experience. If you played this over 10 times, the Warriors would probably win more. You can't just put Steph in over LeBron. And so I respect them all. I want to say that if you look at Steph Curry, 4 titles, 2 MVPs, 1 Finals MVP, there's 7 guys in the history of the NBA who've ever done that. LeBron happens to be one of them. I think that you talk about putting him on a list like that, you can have a better conversation. But the concept of supplanting any of those guys, particularly LeBron, I just don't think is realistic.
One thing I will say, just to add to this conversation, whenever we have these Mount Rushmore conversations in any sport, NBA, whatever sport it may be, we tend to pick 1 player per generation. And I think it's going to be very difficult, even when we look at this conversation 20 years from now, to say Steph Curry belongs in this conversation just like LeBron James, because we have this tendency to pick one from each generation unless there's like a really, really solid case for two people to be selected like that are near each other in the eras that they played. So if you're looking at it from that lens, LeBron will always win that conversation just based on his body of work.
Yeah.
No matter how fantastic Steph Curry is or how much he deserves to be in the conversation.
Yeah, I was looking for the note, but I couldn't find it. But Steph Curry has 15 wins. LeBron James has 7 wins in the postseason head-to-head. But LeBron basically just destroys him in every other category. So, I mean, it'd be pretty hard to top that. All right, guys. What time is it? Okay, it's 8:31. So if you guys are watching in the ESPN app, you can watch the game right here. And, of course, we will see you guys next week. Arda, thank you for hanging out with us today. And, Brian,
let's go.
Have so much fun in Philly.
Have fun at dinner.
Later.
Say hi to everyone.
What shirt are you going to wear next week?
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
It'll be different starting
It'll be
fives.
better. It'll be better than this one. Maybe I'll wear this